Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to go over defending as a team using a 4-4-2 structure. Before I get started, please understand there's many different ways to defend as a team, many different formations, many different variations off that formations. Teams can press, teams can not press. I'm going to cover using 2 lines of 4 and covering the fundamentals and the concepts based off of this structure. So let's get started. First of all, a definition. Line of confrontation. What this means is where the defense starts to defend. If you're pressing, obviously the line of confrontation is going to be extremely high. If you're not pressing, you can just decide where you want to press from there. I was reading a book the other day and it was talking about the defense pressing with the forwards, and it said the midfield line must press off of this. I couldn't disagree more. Obviously, if you send the 9 after a weak dribbler on the 4 or a weak player off the 4 and the 10 goes and guards the 2 and the ball gets through, we can still have the line of confrontation back here at the midfield line with these guys just gambling, trying to pick one off here. The midfield defending in a high block in this situation, we've got the line of confrontation just on the other side of midfield with a defensive line back maybe 10-15 yards in between. The space in between is called in between the lines there. So those are the definitions. You can see here I added some midfielders. The 9 and the 10 had gambled trying to steal from the defense. When that didn't happen and the ball got out to the right wing, the right wing, left wing on our side closed down. We've got cover on the 8, balance on the 6 and the 7, and a back line in perfect formation to cover all the different options. And if you watch my pressing video, we can see we're in great shape to press. The 10 prevents the ball coming back to the keeper or to the defenders. The 8 is man marked and he can get tight if the pressure is good enough, with the 5 in a good position if anything goes wrong. And in the 9 is covered by the 4 and the 3. As we move to the low block, I will show it in one line of defense and an attacker, and I'll show you how to defend this. You can see we've got one solid line all in a row. The defenders are facing the ball, and when I say facing the ball, the left foot would be behind the right foot. As they face this way, they're able to move forward and they're able to move backward, and that's the case in all of these. As the 3 closes down the ball, you can see how hard it is to get anything done here. The defense, they're going to have to pass this back or dribble to the outside here. If they come into the middle or they try to pass through the middle, nothing's going to get through because the defense is in one line. So we have the pressure with the left back, we have the cover with the left center back, and balance with the other 2. The balance will key off of wherever this 5 is, and that is because when we look at this guy will be facing this way. We need to have the defensive line together, and obviously the 5's not going to be able to key off of the 2 in terms of where that is. The reason for this is if the 4 was to drop back, the 5 thinks anything that goes past him is offsides. Obviously that would not be the case, and it would be very dangerous right here. So we play it together, make it hard for any diagonal passes to go through, and make sure that we've got the pressure on the ball. If the ball were to get past the number 3 and the 5 came out, the 3 would drop into the center, and we're in the same position we were before. As the ball is rotated towards the center, the 5 will come out, pressure the ball, the 3 and the 4 will cover, and the 2 will be balanced. And as you can see, very hard to penetrate through this. Number of passes, obviously the danger area in the defense is behind the 5, still onside between the 4 and the 3. So we can have the 3 and the 4 pinch in many cases to cover that. If the ball moves out to the corner, the 3 will defend it. Obviously the defensive line is going to drop back, but we don't need to all be inside the box, as the keeper should be dominating the 6-yard box. So we figure out where the players are. Maybe the 4 will be here, the 5 will stop it. If the player's facing this way, stop any crosses, and the 2 can mark anybody up on the back post. If the player's facing this way, the 5 probably steps out here, prevents any crosses, and the 4 and the 2 mark up or prevent any other different crosses. One thing that's important to note as the ball is swung out wide, as the 3 moves out to cover it, to pressure it, the 5 needs to cover this. But obviously the most important thing that we're defending is the goal. So the 5 wants to stay at home covering at least the near post, or maybe in here to cover any crosses. This space is the dangerous space. If the 5 moves out here, we have less protection in front of the goal. If the 5 stays at home, this becomes very dangerous. And either way, when the midfielder's here, you need to be able to mark your mark and stay with your runner. So in this case, if the 10 were to move into this space, the 8 would go with him. And now we're covered here. We've got 5 in the back, which is fine, where everybody's marked. We've got pressure on the ball. We've got cover. We've got balance. We're in good shape. These would obviously be back just a little bit further. This is important to know, and I'll show you why here in a second. Let's take this scenario here. The 8 has the ball, 10 is going to mark him. The 8 is responsible for their 10. In the 9, we've got +1 with the 4 and the 5 in front of the goal. And obviously the wingers are marked by the outside backs. In this case, we're in pretty good shape. But what happens if the 8 decides the defense can get any runners that go through? You can see pretty quickly, all of a sudden we have 4 against 4. And more importantly, in the center, we're 2 on 2 instead of the +1 that we want. So you can see it makes a big difference. When your midfield has a player that they're marking, they need to go with those runners because it disturbs the balance. You're always going to have the outside backs responsible for the wingers, and you're always going to have the +1 in the center there. Once you let a runner go, that +1 is destroyed. In any of these situations, the most important thing is that you read the game. For instance, if the 8 decides he's going to close down the other 8, leaving this 10 open, that's going to be trouble. If the 8 decides he's not going to stay with his mark, that's going to be trouble. If you look at situations where the 4 maybe comes up and guards the 10, that could be trouble. You need to read the game. And a big part of reading the game is to understand this is a zone defense with responsibilities to mark up. So a matchup zone. That's all I have for today. Thanks for watching the video.